I am Milt Lowder, and this is another episode of the Growth Project podcast. And for those of you who don't know, baby new, AMPLOS, the Growth Project is a byproduct of what we do at AMPLOS. Our job is to help you be better and pursue better. And what we do with this podcast is hopefully bring you relevant insight from our own experiences, from the field of psychology, and from important guests to inspire you, to educate you, and encourage you to take action in becoming who you want to be and how you want to be, and help you pursue the things that you want to pursue in life. So today's episode is becoming a tradition in our family. A very important guest to me, my daughter, McKee Lowder, Key Dog, is in the house. 18 years old. She leaves Tuesday for Clemson University to start her freshman year. And I started this with your brother Jay a couple years ago as he went to college. And as a time of reflection, a time of understanding, a time of opportunity, a time of growth. And I've been getting my mind right for this episode, and I may have shed a tear or two preparing for it. But it's so excited to have you here today. You've taught me so much in my life. And impacted me in ways and impacted other people in ways that you don't even know. And so I look forward to this conversation and giving you a chance to share the good, the bad, the ugly of growing up in the Lowder household and some of lessons you've learned along the way. So,
well, thanks. I'm excited to be here. Hopefully you don't cry, because if you cry, I'm gonna cry.
I'm getting pretty close right now, so I'm trying to fight it off. And so, thinking back, I can kind of go back when you were born. You're the second child. October the 15th, 2005. Not a drop of hair on you, as cute as you can be. And, all those memories just flood and have overwhelmed me here these last couple of weeks, just thinking about you and watching your growth. But, kind of go back to you and you think, what are some of your earliest memories? What are some of your early things you remember?
I think my earliest memory is when you were feeding Emerson the baby food and accidentally fed me the baby food.
It wasn't an accident.
It was not an accident, but...
So tell the story. What happened?
So my mom would always feed Emerson her baby food, and to get Emerson to eat the baby food, we would act like we were going to eat the baby food, me and my brother. Well, Dad, not knowing that, fed Emerson the baby food. And when she was not eating it, I was like, "Oh, Emerson, I'll eat the baby food." Like, "Oh, so good, yum." Not thinking Dad would actually put this spoonful of baby food in my mouth, and little did I know it was going in my mouth. And it was the worst taste ever for little 3-year-old me.
Oh, I could see it. You're like, "Oh, Emerson, this is going to be so good." And you opened up your mouth and, Mom would, and I stuck it right in there. It's like carrot or something. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget your look on your face for that. And so I think you have always been a good big sister like that. One of the ways we talk about building self-efficacy, which is, do you know what that means, self-efficacy?
We learned it in AP Psych this year.
What does it mean?
I don't really remember now.
Yeah, so the fundamental principle that I believe I have what it takes,
mm-hmm.
and ways we build that is vicariously. And so, Emerson, you were role modeling for Emerson. Hey, Emerson, watch your big sister eat this.
I think that's got to be my earliest memory.
What are some other things you remember along the way?
Oh, goodness. Not necessarily specific memories, but always playing. What was the game we played after dinner?
Luis. Do you know where that came from?
Oh, was it The Little Crab? The movie
The Little Mermaid.
The Little Mermaid, yeah.
And so I can't remember when that came out, and so I created a game out of it. And I was Luis, which was the chef. Jay was Sebastian, which was the crab that the chef chased around. Do you remember your name?
Maria.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember where we came up with that?
No.
Me either. And Emerson was a little crab.
She was.
And that had to be one of our favorite games ever.
I think we played it every single night after dinner.
What were the rules of the game? You remember?
All I remember is us just going after you and trying to tackle you. And I feel like we were on top of the world if we got to do that.
Yeah. And so, I forgot about Luis. That was a fun game. What else? What else sticks out?
I think just like that, we would always play on the trampoline or play football in the den and wiffle ball and just all the activities we did growing up together.
Yeah, so my nickname for you playing football was Terry Tate, office linebacker. There was an old commercial of this guy named, they would call him Terry Tate, and he would run around the office and just tackle people, and you would crush people. I mean, you would just kill Emerson and me, mainly me, playing knee football. And so those were great memories, a lot of fun. So again, some of the lessons along the way, I've got some that you've taught me, but what are some of the lessons you've learned from us and from others? And maybe even before you get to the lessons, who are some of the people that have contributed to your growth in your life?
You want me to answer that question first?
Yeah, answer who and what contributed to your growth, and we can talk about those lessons.
I mean, the first that come to mind are you and Mom, definitely. I think Jinjin and Gam have also been two big role models in my life growing up. Who else do I? McKee and Eliza are two older cousins of mine that have really impacted me. Just family has really shaped me to be the person that I have become.
Okay. And so then what are some of those lessons you've learned about yourself or about life along the way?
One lesson that really stands out to me is Lowder's never quit. And I think I've taken that with me all the way from first grade to now, and will continue to take that with me.
Yeah, that became one of our core values, that in the first grade you had to write a sentence with the word quit. And it was very simple, and it was Lowder's never quit.
Yes.
And that has meant so much in my life. But what has that meant to you through your life, and what does it mean to you now?
I think to try my hardest and try to do the best I can in everything I do. I think I'm a very determined person, and I will persevere through anything, especially those trials. So just persevering under trials really is what it means to me. Yeah,
that's how I think of you as well, is putting your mind to something, seeing it through, determined, and it hasn't always been easy.
No, definitely not.
So, okay, we got Lowder's never quit.
Mm-hmm.
What else sticks out to you, some of the lessons you've learned?
A recent lesson that I've learned that I think I'm going to continue, especially in the first few weeks of college, is learning to get, you told me this maybe 2 years ago, learning to get comfortable in the uncomfortable.
Yeah. And that means what?
To me, it means when I don't feel my best and when I don't want to put my best foot forward, or I'm not in the right mindset, just learning to adapt to what's around me and try to be the best that I can with the resources that I have around me.
Yeah, so there's a difference between trying to be your best and having to be your best. How do you see that?
Ooh, that's a tricky question. I think having is you're having to put on a performance every time maybe, and trying is going back to persevering and putting forth the best effort. I think trying is about effort.
Yeah. And so effort, belief, effort will equal success, versus having to be is the pressure of having to be your best in all things. So it's a lot of pressure I think we put on young people today, that you feel this pressure of having to be all things to all people and be great at everything.
Right.
So what about, how just get comfortable being uncomfortable? You said a recent lesson just kind of kept, what was that?
One that comes to mind is climbing Mount Shasta this summer.
Yeah.
I had a great opportunity to climb a 14,000-foot mountain this summer, and it was the most uncomfortable thing that I've ever had to do. So I tried, getting through that, I used that lesson and just kept putting one foot forward on the hike.
Yeah, and so you said it was more difficult than you thought.
Definitely.
And you were trying to summit.
Yes.
Which is 14,000 feet. Then you made it about 12,000 feet. And so how'd you kind of have to make that decision to turn around and go back down?
Knowing that I couldn't necessarily control everything, and I knew that I had to give total control to God, and started to not feel my best, and I had to turn around.
Got some altitude sickness?
Yes.
Yeah. And so what I love about that is what did you learn in that process? and how can you grow from that process? And so what's, other than being comfortable, being uncomfortable, what was another lesson you took away from that?
Like, I cannot control everything. I have a tendency to want to. And I have to surrender everything to God. And his timing will be perfect in my life. And I think that is such a big takeaway for me before I head to college, before going into my freshman year. Like, it's not, I can't control the circumstance or the outcome, but submitting that to God.
Yeah, and that's going back to just trying to be the best that I can be.
Yes.
Which is all we can ever do. And so talking about being the best that you can be, another vivid memory that sticks out is we were saying our prayers on the way to school. And I don't remember what grade you were in. I don't know if you remember this or not. And your prayer that morning was this: God, thank you for letting my dad being great at work. Thank you for my mom being great at running. Thank you for letting Jay be great in athletics. Thank you for letting Emerson being great at being funny. And God, thank you for letting me be great at anything you want me to be great at. And I love that prayer because it's such an earnest prayer. It's like, hey, what is it that you want me to be great at? And so as you look back and think about at this stage of your life, what is it that you think he wants you to be great at?
I think just to be a light and
Be a light?
yes, like be welcoming, be someone that people think they can come and talk to if they're hurting or if they're struggling, or even on their happiest day, someone that they can come and just like celebrate with. I want to be like a person that people feel comfortable around and feel like they can be trusted by me and like be vulnerable towards me. I think vulnerability is a really important quality to have.
And it's hard.
It is hard.
What do you think makes it so hard to be vulnerable at your age?
The constant pressures and comparisons that come with social media or with people around you, with what your friends are doing. I think everyone tries to put on a front and act a certain way, and it can be really hard to want to be true to yourself, especially for girls, I think, in middle school and high school.
You know, I can think back to you and all your interest, you know, when you were young and just free and ferocious and determined and tenacious and curious, and really weren't that self-conscious. And I remember what stood out to me when you were changing, and it was part of going through puberty, is going to watch you play middle school basketball. And you know, I coached you in basketball forever, and every time I saw you, just this determination and focus and grit, and Terry Tate, office linebacker, and I go to the first game, and you're running down the court, and you got that side pony going, and your hands are up in the air, and I'm like, who is this girl? I have not seen my daughter ever be that way.
Right.
And so obviously your body was changing, your mind was changing, and becoming more aware. But how did you work through some of that insecurity, some of that being self-conscious?
My faith played a huge factor in that, and so did you and Mom, I think. I had to turn for help, and I'm the type of person that does not like asking for help. But just through perseverance, through faith and reading my Bible, and through prayer and support, I think I was able to overcome those insecurities that just happen to girls very often and very common.
I think it happens to everybody.
Yes.
But especially young girls, especially going through high school, especially through adolescence, that's really challenging. So what advice would you give? I mean, not that you're through it, you're 18.
Right.
But some of these people listening may have young daughters going through middle school, going through high school. What advice would you give them?
I think to parents, I would give, you and Mom have done a great job of, like you always say, being in this world but not of it. I think I would give advice to these parents to not necessarily like be so consumed with what outfits their daughter puts on or son puts on, or what necessarily activities they have to do. Just like let them be who they are and not necessarily get tied up in the small things that don't necessarily matter. For example, drama with girls.
Yeah, it's hard. Mm-hmm. You know, it's hard to kind of be in this world but not of it. but clarify in terms of what you wear, because I'm probably pretty protective about what you wear. Clarify what you mean by that?
I mean, like, that's just a little example, but like having their daughter or son dress perfectly for a certain picture, for a certain event, just not caring so much about perfection and just letting your child be, and do as they please with certain boundaries.
Yeah.
And certain expectations that come from parents, but not tying them down so intensely.
Yeah, that's such a hard part of our job as parents, is to enforce and create age-appropriate boundaries, and your job is to push those. And finding that happy medium to where the freedom we give you is equal to your self-control and maturity. And so you mentioned, hey, Mom and I have done a good job. Let's start with the good. What are some of the things that you think we've done well as parents?
Quality time with me, Emerson, and Jay. Y'all have spent a lot of time and care for us. So that is the first one that definitely comes to mind. Like I said, just being in this world but not of it. Y'all have done a great job of leading in that way, and just, allowing us opportunities to find what we're interested in and find what interests us. And celebrating with us and crying with us. Y'all do a great job of helping us and helping us mature into the person that we are today.
Okay, so that's the good. Where could we have been better? What could we have done a better job of?
Yeah, I think the frustration with frustration that comes from if we mess up and if we do fall short.
And so what does that look like?
Like, if we don't put something up exactly when it needs to be put up, we get, y'all get frustrated with us, and it is just not very fun to hear. And I know that it is frustrating, but just if we don't do it exactly when it needs to be done, we get... Exactly,
Key dog is a strong word. Exactly. I'm going to argue that just a little bit. But let's be important. What are the expectations we have of you? Because I think I talk a lot about expectations, and what expectations do is to people that we add pressure. They can also increase entitlement, right? If you expect to be treated in a certain way, or I expect to be treated a certain way, this I think what I deserve. But expectations also take away your joy. And so what are the expectations that you think your mom and I have of you?
I think y'all expect us to be the best that we can. And that's a good expectation that y'all have on us. Sometimes it feels like the expectation is to follow exactly what the rules are, to follow exactly what y'all say. And I think that expectation is sometimes where I feel like I'm letting y'all down if I don't do exactly what you say.
Good. Okay.
I guess that's what I was meaning with the falling when I fall short of the expectations.
And so our frustration in you not doing what we say or what we ask. What about the expectations outside of home of doing the things that we ask you to do? What do you think our expectations are of you in school or in life or in sports? What do you think those expectations are?
Expectation in school, y'all never really pressured us to get A's or to make it 100 on a test, and I think that's pressure that comes from internal, from ourselves. I think in school it was just to do the best that you can, and I really appreciated that because if I didn't make the best grade, I felt like I could come home and tell y'all, and yes, y'all would not be happy that I made that grade, but y'all would not be so disappointed in me that it would leave me feeling worse about myself.
I don't want to defend myself, but I'm trying to find a time that I've ever been disappointed in one of your grades.
No, yes, that's what I'm saying.
Or Mom, yeah. I don't think neither one of us have ever said, maybe Jay, because he doesn't work as hard, but it's, again, his effort, not the outcome.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Y'all don't care so much about the outcome.
Okay.
Y'all care about the effort.
Okay. What about sports?
Sports have, sports haven't been a big, part of my life as they were compared to Jay's. I played tennis up until 11th grade, and feel like, y'all don't really put any pressure on me in sports. It's just to have fun and try my hardest once again. And this year I picked up cross country and tried that this year, and I pushed myself maybe a little too hard at times.
Yeah.
But it was honestly super fun to see you and Mom cheer me on at those races and watch you appreciate the effort that I was putting into it.
Yeah, you gave it your all. We could, the first race you ever ran, that was an interesting one, but with a heat stroke for 3 days. But what I love, that was such a microcosm of what we hope you do in life is, it's going to be tough, it's going to be challenging, but do the best you can and lay it out on the line. And I think that was so much fun to watch you be a part of a community like that, but watch Emerson, you both give everything you have. And I think cross country was such a neat event for me. I'd never been to a race before. It was so fun to watch people give it all they had. It's a good way to measure effort. Okay, what else could we have done better?
Honestly, I think y'all have done an amazing job at parenting us three. If I'm being honest, I know me and Emerson and Jay, we do say little things like just putting stuff up in the house, but big picture wise, you and Mom have really done a great job at preparing me for this next season.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I don't think that's the case. I think there's things that we can always grow and improve. But as you think about this transition, what do you want from us? How do you want our relationship to grow? What do you need from us in this next phase of life for you?
So me and my dad went to JH Ranch, and that was really transformative. And I don't exactly remember that activity where we did, and they said the 4 C's of parenting. Do you remember what that was?
It's you go from a caretaker to a cop to a coach to a consultant.
And is coach the season of where I'm at right now?
I think coach is where you are right now. What's a coach do? It encourages you, it challenges you, it holds you accountable. I don't know when that transition takes place to a consultant, but a consultant is a lot of what I do in my work. I'm there when I'm needed.
Right.
And the burden becomes, since you aren't going to be in our home every day, the burden becomes on you to ask for that help. And is that what you're saying you're ready for?
Yes. I think that is exactly what I was saying.
And so what does that look like?
Just being there when I need it, and bringing me the encouragement when I need encouragement. I think being happy for me when I call y'all and something really exciting going on at Clemson, or just giving me advice when I need advice on something that went on. But yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
Okay, so think about this next phase. Some people listening to this may have children trying to make a decision on college and where they're going to go. And how did it came out of Clemson or Sanford for you, Sanford in Birmingham, Alabama. How did you go about making that decision of what you thought was going to be best for you?
It was a really tough decision, that's for sure. I think what it came down to for me is Clemson really felt like home, and Sanford felt super safe. I wanted a school that wasn't necessarily super safe, wasn't gonna keep me super comfortable, going back to being comfortable in the uncomfortable. I wanted a school that I did feel like was home, but also knew where I could challenge people and people could challenge me to grow.
Yeah.
And I do think that's what Clemson is going to offer me.
And so where do you hope to grow? What are some of your goals for college and dreams for college?
I have a lot of goals and dreams in college, I think. I hope to grow in community. I want to find my people in college, and so I hope to grow in reaching out and not being so I tend to be more rigid and routine. So I guess I want to grow in grow in not being so rigid and stuck in my ways, but more flexible, and more open to trying new things and welcoming.
Yeah, I think it's such a fine line. Your maturity, I mean, you're an old soul, and your maturity impresses me so much. And one of the things we talk about is maturity matching talent and ability in order to grow and thrive. And so you've created such wonderful habits in terms of your routine and your exercise and your devotion and your quiet time and cooking. You become an excellent cook and really understand what helps you be your best and what you like to do. But that can be so routine oriented that you lack some freedom and creativity and spontaneity. And
Yes.
one of the things I like to say is creativity within structure leads to freedom. Creativity without structure leads to chaos. I'm a little bit more on the chaos side. You're a little bit more of the structure side.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love you being open to that, to what God has in store for you and what opportunities and who's going to be in your life. Now, in terms of your major and interest around career, what are you leaning towards? And I know this. I'm just asking for our audience.
Yes. So I am hoping to pursue nursing. I love being around people. I love babysitting. Babysitting has been a huge part of my high school experience. And I also love visiting with old people. I love spending time with my grandparents. And I think I really want to do a job that you're caring for people. And nursing is just something I'm really interested in. So I'm majoring in health science right now, and we'll see where that takes me if I can get through those bio and chem classes, but hoping to pursue a career in nursing, whatever field that looks like.
Yeah, and so you mentioned babysitting. You did some work over at Bar. You've been around. How did you learn about, hey, this is an interest for you, and this is a strength of yours, and this may be a gift of yours to help others?
I think my passion for caring for people, definitely. I don't think I want a job where I sit behind a desk. I think I want a job where I am interacting with people daily and seeing how I'm helping firsthand. And when people are in their most vulnerable state, how can I help them and hopefully help them to get better, healthy.
Yeah. You used to want to be a psychologist.
I did.
Do you remember we made your business cards? McKee Lowder, what did it say? Future PhD, future psychologist.
Oh, yes.
What changed from that, you think?
I think the reason I wanted to be a psychologist because I looked up to you so much. I mean, you're my hero. You still are. And I think I was like, I want to be a psychologist because my dad's a psychologist. A psychologist is a job where you are helping people. So I think it just switched in my interest in discovering more about myself into where I would still love to be a psychologist, and I might even major in that in college. And maybe that is where I'm meant to be. But I think nursing, I am also interested in the science. And I took AP Bio last year, and my biology teacher.
You got to give her a shout out.
Yes, Miss Unger.
Yeah.
If you ever listen to this, she really encouraged me in that class and pushed me in that class, and it was so interesting. So I think combining me wanting to help people with the interest that I have in science and in our bodies, I think nursing sounds like a great job for me. Yeah. But we will see.
Well, thank you for your words. If you aren't watching, that hit me pretty hard about being a hero, and I fall short of that. But I think good career decision making, that was my dissertation, and our job as parents is to expose you to a lot of different activities, a lot of different people. You've had wonderful teachers and other people in your life, mentors, and learn about what they do.
Definitely.
And figure out the whole theory of career decision making. Is that what you're interested? You're more motivated. That what you're more motivated, you aren't going to quit. You're going to persevere. One of the highlights of my career this year was doing the nurse burnout presentation at St. Francis. So your senior thesis was on nurse burnout and really trying to help care. And our good friends at St. Francis, Eric Whaley and chief nurse Kathy Black, invited us over, and you had to give your presentation. What was that like for you?
it was a super cool experience. I don't think I've ever gotten an opportunity like that before. Nerve-wracking for sure, because I was speaking to about 20 nurse leaders, maybe
30. I'm kind of maybe 40. I don't know.
No,
Yeah,
it
somewhere in
wasn't that
that.
many.
Yeah.
But it was just super cool that we got to work together on that, and I got to share with these people that do pursue a profession in nursing something that is super interesting and hopefully will help hospitals. Even though I didn't really get to get my presentation as further than speaking to St. Francis, but hopefully just help with nurse burnout is big and profession burnout is too.
Yeah.
Just hopefully learning ways to balance your career and your life and not get so burnt out of your job easily.
Yeah, I love John Wood and I love quotes. He talks about we get so busy making a living, we forget about making a life. And how do you balance both? So we got the goals and dreams for college. What are you nervous about?
The unknown. I don't do well with not knowing what's ahead. So that's my biggest nerve-wracking thing that I think I have.
So what can I do to help?
Reminding me that it will all work out and everything does happen for a reason. I think that's a huge thing that people need to remember. So just like we talked about, being there for me when I need it and encouraging me when I need it, but also challenging me when I need it, because the unknown is super scary, not just in college, but as I head into a career or two, or as I start my life after college, it will still be the unknown that I think is going to scare me.
Yeah, I think that's which we don't know and can't control always can overwhelm us.
Yes.
So if I throw out some things, I'd love to get your opinion or just your thoughts when I say it. Being curious. I know y'all are tired of me saying that, but being curious means what to you?
Just being open to all that lies ahead. You told that to me and Emerson before we headed back to JH Ranch this summer, and that did stick with me in those 2 weeks that I was out there for camp. And I think it just made me more open to what I grew from that trip out there. And just, I think when you're curious, you're more willing and more accepting to growth.
Love it. Remember who you are.
That is definitely one that when they ask what you said at your funeral, what we learned from you in your funeral, that is going to be one that's going to be the first one to come to mind. Every time we leave the house, Dad will always say, remember who you are. Just stay true to yourself and stay true to who you and Mom raised us up to be. Stick true to your values and never let that go.
Okay, so Cowgirl, Don't Cry.
Oh, goodness.
What does that mean to you?
It's our song. It means, it really means just our relationship, I think. Whenever I hear that song, it portrays your love for me, and it's just always a good reminder to turn it on, and thank you. Pick that out for us.
Yeah, so that's been our song for a long time, and if you, this is what it said. Cowgirl, don't cry. Ride, baby, ride. The lessons of life show us all in time. Too soon, God lets you know why. If you fall, get right back up. The good Lord calls everybody home. Cowgirl, don't cry. And so, this theme of it's going to hurt. And it's going to be tough. And it's going to be difficult. And when I think about that Cowgirl, don't cry every time I see it, I think of you deeply and fondly and with tremendous love and appreciation. But I also think of Lowder's Never Quit.
And I don't think I've ever thought of that song and how much meaning is in it. That's super cool.
Yeah, well, that's what I want you to remember. And so the reason I picked the songs out for you, Jay, was something to be proud of. Yours is Cowgirls Don't Cry. Emerson has kind of two, Just Fishing and I Saw God Today. I want those to be reminders forever. That's hey, keep fighting, keep persevering, keep walking in faith. That's what's most important. It's about, go to my homegrown. If I say homegrown, what do you know about that?
That's the song that you walk out to because it's true to you.
But it says what?
I got some good. Wait.
Yeah, it does have. That's how it starts. I've got some good friends. It's a song I play for our football team. But the refrain says,
Remind me of that.
Everything I need.
And nothing that I don't.
Yes. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. The favorite memories, the good, the bad. What do you want different? Like what? And I've asked you a ton of questions. What questions do you have for me?
You always say college is the best 4 years of life, but there's so much life that lies ahead of you. How do you not get so, trapped in that, oh, if this is the best 4 years of my life, but, what if it isn't?
Oh, yeah, so clarify. Yeah, so I don't say, I get mad when people say college is the best time of your life. It can be the best time of your life up to date. But the pressure we put on you that, hey, these 4 years are going to be the best 4 years of your life. There's two things that are wrong with that. One, what happens if you go when college is really tough? College, in my life, was one of the most traumatic experiences in my life and was really difficult and really challenging. Now, what came out of that is those experiences made me who I am. That pain became my purpose. And God put people in my life and friends in my life to help me grow. The other part is, believe it or not, it's hard to say, I was graduated from Clemson 30 years ago. Yeah, that's old. And so if that was the best time of my life, what have I missed out on?
Right.
I mean, marrying your mother, being your father, and Jay and Emerson, the best time of my life is right now. And so I think we put so much pressure and the expectation that this should be the best years of your life. I hope they're wonderful years. I pray that they are the best time of your life to date. But two things I know to be true. If they're not, you're going to be okay. And once they are over, then we got to make the rest of your life the best of your life. We have to keep your dreams greater than your memories. And so I think if you can remove that pressure and that burden, because it becomes back to you try to control it.
Right.
Or parents try to control it. I mean, that's a problem I see with parents today for young children. They try to control and manipulate every activity, every opportunity, every situation.
Don't get stuck up for parents. But I guess what I am seeing from you is don't try to control it. Don't get so stuck up in the little things.
Yeah, let them be who they want to be. And let them figure life out, because we try to hide and keep you. One of the things I love about you is you are so independent, and being willing to ask for help is going to be a growth area. But I don't worry about you. I mean, you are so independent and you're so mature and you're resilient, but you've had to fight. And so sometimes parents try to shield the very thing from you that's going to make you who you are. So that's a great question. What other questions you got for me?
How do you want to help me in college? You've talked about how I want you to help me, but how do you think you should help me or help me grow into the person that I want to become?
I want to continue to be relevant in your life. I want to continue to try to be your hero and live up to that. I want to give you space to grow. I want to be there for you. I want to encourage you. I want to inspire you, and I want to be inspired by you. I want to remain curious about how you're growing in mind and body and spirit and friends, and how you're challenging. If I'm frustrated, I want to get better at handling my frustration. That is probably not my strength. But what I really want to be is somebody that you feel comfortable picking up the phone and calling. Or I'm in Clemson, you're like, hey, Dad, I'm struggling with something. Can we go eat lunch? Or, Dad, can we go get coffee? That's what I really want to be for you. And I want to be somebody that you always know that you are beautifully and fearfully made, that there's nothing you can do to make me love you any more or any less. That's what I want you to walk away in confidence and freedom and peace of mind with, that you are deeply loved.
That's all the questions I have. You covered it all.
Yeah. So, thank you. Um, you know, it's hard to believe we're at this moment. But I know you're ready, and I know you're excited. We're going to miss you when you're gone. We drop you off on, I guess this will go off, by the time this airs next week, you'll already be at Clemson.
It's crazy.
But I love you, and I can't wait to see what God has in store for you.
Thank you. Love you too.